Hey everyone, it's Dave here from Band of Badgers. Here's another Epic Encounters unboxing. This one is Caverns of the Frost Giant. I picked this one up, well actually my wife got it for me because she bought me the Orcs set, which was Hall of the Orc King, and she bought me this one at the same time because I said that they're connected, which they are kind of. But so I wanted to show you this one as well. This is one of the boss boxes. So you don't get 20 minis in this one, but you do get a very hefty, it is a Frost Giant, so you get a Frost Giant. Now it says actual size. I'll show you how big this is, but if you can see my hand, he's big. This truly is the epic. And I think this, the Frost Giant, along with the Fang Orcs, is just my utmost best collection. I've run this one a few times now. If you would like to see what this one is like to play, if you there should be a link that comes up on the screen. Check out our campaign version of this. My heroes did really well against the Frost Giant himself. But let's take a look. I mean, I showed you there. Let's just show you. Here we go. I've got the other box here. So this is the Orcs. So you can see it's twice as wide, and this one is a couple of inches. So this one is twice as wide. Look at the difference on that. Okay, so this one has 20 minis. That's the Orc King. This one has this one giant mini. Now in the UK, you can pick this up from retailers or directly from the steamforged.com. They do sell it. You have an e-commerce shop. You can just buy it there directly. You can also buy this in the States. You can buy this in across Europe. In the UK, it's priced at $32.99. And again, steamforged.com to go and pick it up. So let's just have another look. So you haven't got these 20 minis to kind of run through. You've just got this epic looking Frost Giant. If you can see in there, look at his smirk on his mouth. Look, you know, he's not happy. He's got this huge billowing beard. Look at this fur on there. You've got a couple of shields, and we'll show it in more detail because it's hard to show on this box. But you can see like there's ropes. Okay, and there's all bits. There's a sword in there. His belt buckle, that's a shield. And there's various things coming up. Now, I can't turn it to sideways, but we'll do this when we get the model out. But this thing, that is kind of like half an axe head sticking in his chest. And it's still in there. So you have to think about how many things are going on. Now, not just, that's an X, basically in his six-pack, embedded in there. Now, following it away all the way down to his leg, that's a sword, which is still embedded into his ankle. That is pretty incredible. And you can see he's got other bits and pieces strapped to his ankles. He's barefoot. This is all kind of frozen tundra. He's a Frost Giant. He's supposed to be blue. The mini is actually blue. All the minis are unpainted. And this thing here, this is like an ice axe. An ice blade, but this is a ship's mast, and then you start to get an idea of how big this giant is supposed to be. He is huge. So let's have a quick look at the description on this one. So this is obviously Epic Encounters, Caverns of the Frost Giant. Frost Giants live for the fight, hard-headed and stubborn. Their bloodlust is matched only by their brute strength. Though they rush into battle, their survival instinct is strong. So watch your step when entering a Frost Giant's lair. These tyrants have a nasty habit of laying murderous traps. So although you don't get your 20 minis to fight through, you only have this one boss monster. In his cavern, there are traps. Traps, environmental obstacles to overcome. So it's not just one big fight. You do have to find him and before you even take him on. So inside this box, you have a Frost Giant miniature. You have 12 Fang Orc tokens, and these are cardboard tokens. So if you didn't have Hall of the Orc King, you get cardboard tokens you can use instead. But I would, if you get Hall of the Orc King and Caverns of the Frost Giant, you will not be disappointed. You will just absolutely fall in love with these box sets. You get 6 trap tokens. You get a double-sided game mat. Those are A2 in size. You get the adventure book, which is kind of like a comic size book. You get the series of monster stats. And you get the tips and tricks for building tension and excitement. And that's the biggest benefit to any DM, GM. There's some great ways of just introducing this all in. And it says at the bottom now, I just realized, it says use this set as the finale to Hall of the Orc King. Okay, now again, I mentioned when I did the Orc King video, and you could drop this into like Icewind Dale or any kind of Frozen Tundra game setting that you may have. So this is the box. This is what you get. We'll come to the mini in a minute. I'm going to show you a combination of things. So this is your comic-sized doobie working. Words are leaving me at the moment. And here's all your bits and pieces. Now the cinematic moments is some of the best things in here. All of these adventures, all these epic encounters can be tiered. There you go. So it breaks down into what level your players are, your difficulty checks, and your damage levels. So you can just easily scale this. You don't have to use go with the stats provided. You can just up the difficulty level in these straight away. Fantastic artwork as always. Really helps to set the scene and especially the atmosphere and the mood. Here's some background on the area of what this, why the Frost Giant may be in there. It's just a little bits and pieces you can use in your own story if you're homebrewing, or just to kind of get your players in the mood. Tactics on how to fight. Now, obviously, as the GM, you are the baddie. You're controlling the baddie. So here's some tactics to take out your players. A little bit of help and advice. Do you take out the magic user first? Do you take out the barbarian or the fighters first? Or you got some options. Again, you don't have to use them. But I had a lot of fun following these instructions. It was really a lot of good. I managed to wade in there quite a while. Now you get two sides of the map. When I've done these boss fights, I've only used one side of the map. I like the one where you get 20 minis and you kind of have two parts of the story. I've just picked one, the one which I think is going to be the most fun. And you're not going to be able to see it here, but there are things inside the map. There are things frozen in these walls. There are stalactites, stalagmites, there are cracks, there are icy chutes. There's all kinds of things in there, and plus the traps. The traps were mentioned on the back of the box. Now here are, so you can pick which side of the map you want, A or B, and then you can pick your placements. You got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and it says here 1, 2, 3. So you got icicle drops, crevices, tumbling corpses. Ooh, some really nice ideas here. And then you got a series of traps, spike traps, wall darts, falling nets. It's a trap. All kinds that, again, all this stuff that's kind of embedded in the ice for the heroes to find. Really nice ideas. Here's another kind of close-up of him. Look at that smirk. Oh, he's not happy. And you can see more detail here. Like levers and skins and ropes and stuff he's got tied to him. Now this is kind of like a breakdown of the rounds, and they do this with a lot of the monster boxes. So per round, use the environment, have different breaks. A bit like a computer game. When you see something, you might be in a town fighting, suddenly there's an avalanche that wipes out a few of the buildings. Well, now you have less cover. So it uses those kind of things. So you have a multi-attack first. This is just, again, just a guide. Use ice shield, snowfall, freezing blade, multi-attack, hail of gems. They're in this particular story. If you were to run with this, in this ice cavern, you can imagine that, you might imagine it's quite dark, but actually because of the ice, and the ice goes all the way up to these like really tall high ceilings, because the giant's not going to sort of crouch or bend over in these tunnels. These are super high ceilings, made of solid ice. The outside light is shining through, and what they've done is slightly differently is a hail of gems. So embedded in the ceiling, apparently frost giants like gems, are all of these gems. So not only do you have these pinpricks of light coming down into this kind of cavern, but different coloured lights. So shots of light, you have greens and reds and blues. And the hail of gems is when this particular frost giant uses his axe and he scrapes the ceiling. And you can imagine all these sharp icicles raining down onto the heroes, plus pieces of gems, which maybe if they're lucky, if they survive, they can pick them up off the floor and actually gain some treasure for a change. The rock and roll is also a nice bits and pieces. So here's a breakdown of what each one does. So 7 options there. Here's a breakdown. rumbling in the ice. You can see that just there. Look. And as you know, like a dragon, these are lair abilities. Eruption from beneath. So the frost giant can go into the ice walls himself. That's just, you see it there, just to heal up some of the wounds. But then he can come back out of the ice, or maybe a different location. Unstoppable charge, collapsing cave. What you do when you're, if you've ever been like snowboarding or skiing, and you've fallen into the snow, that's super cold. So what would you do? What would your heroes do in that situation? And finally, some treasure. Now, in the you do get treasure in some of the boxes, but again, it kind of gives it based on a tier system, because you're not going to give your 4th level characters 12,000 gold pieces. You know, you might want to control that so they don't go and start buying up all the magic items in town. Great artwork. Really helps to set the scene. Here's some of the Grimfang Orcs. So they don't put a whole lot in. This is just to kind of have some extra fodder. So if you want to throw some Orcs in, you can. So it's a repeat of the other book. But this time, and I'll show you here, this time you get some cardboard tokens. So if you don't have the box, you can pop these out. You have 6 bowmen, 6 spearmen. And just use that. You mark it on the sheet. They're the right size. So 1-inch round tokens. And then you got the darts, the spikes, and the nets. These are the traps. So when the traps are sprung, you can put that down onto the map. It's a really nice way of tracking things. I love using environment minis or trap minis. So these are quite actually handy to use. Now, here's another system which I quite like about Epic Encounters. So we mentioned the tiers. So you got, you know, easy, mid-range, high-level heroes. Well, the baddies are the same. So here's a frost giant calf. Here's almost a newborn. So lower stats for your 4th level fighters to deal with. Makes it much, much easier. Assuming you want to throw a frost giant at them straight away. Then you get a Moraine. So here's your medium kind of one. It says there, challenge rating 13. This one is a challenge rating of 8. So you definitely have some options. Special abilities, implacable will, ice of the veins. Oh, this is really nice. Ice in the veins. So when the frost giant takes more than 35 damage in a single round, the ice running through its veins explodes out into jagged icicles. Not sure if you can actually see that. Any player character in melee combat with the giant must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take 1d8 cold damage. See, even hurting this boss, this frost giant, goes against you. You don't always want to be front line. Sometimes you get that splash attack that can get you. Then you have a glacial frost giant. This has a challenge rating of 17. Gargantuan, chaotic evil, all the stats you need. Legendary actions, great axe, rocks, lair abilities, ice in the veins. Everything is here. Multi-attack, great axe, rocks. Everything you need is there. But look at those hit points. Now this is just the average. The 214 is the average. You're going to get, if you add all that up, and if you do, I tend to use a lot of the time maximum hit points, just because I want the players to have a. My players tend to like the fights, so we give them a good fight when we can. And here's the credits. Thank you, team. Great job as always. Here's your agreements at the back, artwork, and there's the advert promo for the Hall of the Orc King. So if you haven't already seen this, check back. It's on our videos. It's on YouTube. Go check that out. And again, look at this. You can see the axe in his belly there. A bit better on this one. You can see his arm. But let's take a proper look at this mini. And look at you actually get a base on this one. So you can just see there's like a rib cage frozen in the ice there, in the snow. Really nicely done and highly, highly detailed miniatures. Let's just take a quick look at the map. So this is a blue ice cavern. It's not going to show up that well on the camera, unfortunately, but let's just try and pick out some details. There is, I think this is the one that I used on my players. So you can kind of see this thing here, and it kind of looks like a scaly creature, and it is. This is actually a Ramorez. Now Ramorez looks like this. It is a beast that lives in the ice, and all its spikes on its back are superheated, so it can burrow through the ice. But this is big. I mean, a typical mini is going to be about this big, so this is a large encounter. And you can see its kind of teeth in his eyes there. So this is a nice, and this can eat people. Okay, there's a swallow attack on this one. This can eat adventurers whole, especially if they're dwarves and halflings. Yummy, yummy. Okay, so this has been nailed to the wall, almost like decoration. So in my game, I made that kind of come out, and they can have some fun with that. Now also, let's try and get a different shot. I saw it earlier. I bet I can't find it now. There it is. So again, the artwork on this ice is fantastic. Now you can just see here, there is something frozen in the ice. And there's two things. So somewhere it mentions that there is a second frost giant. And he's just frozen. But basically, that's how they get created. There's a kind of mythology that they include as part of the story. So they're not born. They're just kind of made in the ice. They're kind of created out of the ice and magic. And there's another bit where there's a larder. So this frost giant has kept his food in basically a fridge. And there's all these bodies which are stacked up into the ice. And if the heroes get too close, the ice is quite thin. The ice cracks and all these bodies just tumble out and fall onto whatever hero got too close. Here's the good bit. Okay. I am just so much looking forward to painting this. It's not a mini. This is a giant. Okay. So apologies for the plastic noise. Trying to get this out so I can show you. Just whack the camera as I move things around. Right. Now, look at this. There's him. There's the Remoras. Let me just quickly see if I can grab another mini. Yeah, there we go. Ooh. So here is a standard size mini. That's a 28mm. Here is the Remoras about to swallow this one. And here, if I can hold this, is the giant. I mean, look. That is ridiculous. Look at this. Right, so let's have a proper look. Oh, and this, by the way, this has a little square here. There's nothing missing. This is just for these. So when you pop these out, you probably you might recycle this. Eventually, these will get too loose to stay in there properly, and I think it's just a kind of little pot to put them in. Nice and easy. So think of everything. Well done, Steamforge. So, let us have a proper look at him. And look, remember that smirk? This is how much definition these miniatures have. You can see his eyes, his cheeks. You can see his nose, look. His nose is under this helm. And look at that smirk. Oh, he's got a cheeky smirk. He is not happy. The detail on the shields, look. And that bit in the middle, that kind of diamond pyramid, that's raised. It's all engraved and indented. But look at that axe in his belly. If I turn it sideways, look at that. That is incredible. So who managed to hurt him there? Is he even hurt? He just looks annoyed. I think he just made him angry. Again, look at it. Look, solid muscle on the arms, and then you've got this kind of brace going across. You can see these ropes. Even the ropes have texture, look. The definition is absolutely incredible. Such a beautiful piece. Several belt buckles. You can see that it's got an animal skull strapped to his arm. Just kind of looking at all the detail. Look, it's a broken sword. There's another skull on his arm. He's just using on his forearm here. Look, just using bits of armor for his own. And look at this. This isn't a pouch. That's his lunch. That's his packed lunch. Look, he's got part of a deer just hanging over his belt, going for a picnic. And you could definitely imagine this is a Yeti skin. Look at that. It's layered as well. You can see what it's layering there. You've got cloth, or maybe this is sails from the ship. So that could all be silk. His hair jutting out just like his beard. The helmet has texture. It's almost like he had to craft it himself somehow. Or maybe what that is some kind of skull. There are something in here. So maybe that's could that be a Yeti skull? Could be. The other side here, we got. You can't see that really well. We got a hook just there for his other deer. So he's got one deer. You can put something else there. He's got a mace. Various weapons strapped to his arms for extra protection. I don't think it's like it's not his way of holding things. I think it's there to protect him. You can see his hands. This tree. Metal clasps around them, and look at this weapon. Got another skull on here with these ropes. It's just like giant pieces of glacier ice with this jagged. Look, and that's actually sharp. Let's see the other side of that. There we go. More pieces. And look at these feet. So the leg, we see this one in his belly. Okay, so that someone landed a good hit there. That's an axe. But down here, look. There are 2 swords sticking out of his leg. And look at all these cuts. They've been healed up, all these scars. So his legs are definitely vulnerable. I just hit the camera then with the axe. Look at that. He's got a shield in there, all strapped in. And look at his. I was gonna say he's got little ankle warmers. They're just wolves. Wolf skins. He hasn't even bothered to cut the heads off. And there's another axe, look. Some more swords. But you could imagine, you kill this giant when he finally falls down. Maybe some of these weapons are magical. Who knows? And he's barefooted, look. It is an incredibly detailed, absolutely massive miniature. That it is just... That is just ridiculous. Let's try and let's show that again. Look. Okay. Stabbity stabbity. No wonder it just doesn't do any damage, look. Stabbity stabbity. Not gonna work on this. And that shield is not gonna stop that axe. So let's have a look at this one. So this is the base. Now the base is nice. You get the SFG logo on the bottom. Steamforged Games. The base has some so you can properly set the miniature. And you can see there's the rib cage we mentioned in the artwork. All this is snow. You got a bit of planking, bit of wood there. So obviously they go in there, plugs in there, and then you have your mini. And what an incredible mini that is. I mean, they if you've seen the Kobold and Red Dragon unboxing, that Red Dragon, that looked formidable. But this, sorry, this is by far my favourite. The detail and the detail on those orcs. If you only buy, I was going to say one set, but you've got to buy two boxes for the entire story. If you only buy one, get it. Hall of the Orc King and Caverns of the Frost Giant. You will not be sorry. Even if you don't play, you just want to paint them. They are, and this is solid. This has got some weight in it. Okay, the dragon was very heavy from box number 2. This has some weight as well. But this looks excellent. I have this. For those of you who watch our campaigns, you'll probably see this on the kind of the bookcase behind me when we're playing. This is kind of trophy sized. That's not minis. You bring that onto a table, your players are gonna go apeshit. They really are. They're gonna love this thing. So anyway, I'll get my Remoras and my dead hero out of the way. This one is gonna go back into his box for now. I've got my plastic bit on top. Packaging is always worth keeping. Everything fits in place, so you can kind of see it has this kind of square cut out. Everything has a place, and when you've used them, they can go in a little pot. So there we go. That is the Caverns of the Frost Giant. Once again, $32.99 from Steamforged Games directly. Or you can pick it up at your local game store. You will not be disappointed. So if you like that video, please share with everyone you know. Send out smoke signals. Do what you can to get people to subscribe to our channel. And until that time, be good. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.